Israel right now. They are on a highway of some sort. That's on a highway there. Thank you to Walter Beasley. What happened to the camera? So these protesters, people are protesting in Israel because these protesters want Israel to make a deal to get the rest of the hostages home. This comes after earlier today Israel found, the Israeli military found, oh, I hope we didn't lose the shot. Well, give it a second here. Could have a short stream if we lost the shot, but let's see. Hopefully they get their shot back. Israel found 6 bodies of hostages. Further live coverage is expected. So while there's a break in the live shot, Israel found 6 bodies of hostages in Gaza earlier today. They were all dead, and they had all been recently killed by Hamas, according to the Israeli military. So that has led to these protests taking place tonight in Israel, where a large number of people are protesting, calling for the government to make a deal with Hamas for a ceasefire to get the rest of the hostages home. Oh, I think we're getting the shot back right now. Here we go. So this is in Tel Aviv, Israel right now. Yes, and just so you know, the Reuters description is Israelis gather outside government compound in Tel Aviv to demand an immediate deal with Hamas after 6 hostages held in Gaza were killed and bodies retrieved earlier on Sunday. Whoa, 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 what's that? We got a fire of some type burning. Whoa, whoa, what is burning over there? So this is some sort of highway in Tel Aviv that they're on. They have blocked the highway. There are police on the scene. I saw police earlier trying to keep people off the highway, but apparently they were not successful because these people are all on the highway. I'm gonna give you guys a little background about what's going on as we watch this protest footage, okay, guys? So let me give you a little background about what's happening here while we keep an eye on the footage. This is in Tel Aviv, Israel. So you can see right here the Washington Post reports protests escalate in Israel after 6 hostages' bodies are recovered in Gaza. This is from the Washington Post. The Washington Post writes, Israelis... Can you guys can you hear my voice okay right now? Can you guys hear my voice over the protesting? Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. You can hear me. People are saying they can hear me. Okay, good. Okay, so the Washington Post reports Israelis reacted with shock and fury Sunday after the bodies of 6 more hostages were recovered by the military from Gaza, with Israeli authorities saying the hostages were killed by their captors in recent days. Hundreds of thousands of protesters took part in nationwide demonstrations tonight, and Israel's biggest labor union called for a general strike tomorrow, threatening to shut down the country until Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu agrees to a deal with Hamas to return the remaining captives. So let me just read that again. Let me just read that again from the Washington Post to give you some perspective here. Tel Aviv, Israelis reacted with shock and fury Sunday after the bodies of 6 more hostages were recovered by the military from Gaza, with Israeli authorities saying they were killed by their captors, their Hamas captors, in recent days. Hundreds of thousands of protesters took part in nationwide demonstrations Sunday night. You're watching one live right now. And Israel's largest labor union called for a general strike tomorrow, threatening to shut down the country until Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu agrees to a deal with Hamas to return the remaining hostages. The IDF said the 6 hostages were killed by Hamas shortly before they were retrieved from a tunnel that is in Rafah, Gaza. A tunnel several dozen feet deep in the southern Gaza city of Rafah. It was roughly half a mile from the tunnel where the IDF rescued a living hostage last week. The Washington Post reports that the bodies of the 6 hostages were taken to the National Center of Forensic Medicine, where an examination determined the 6 had been killed by multiple close-range gunshots within the last 48 to 72 hours, according to Shira Solomon, a spokesperson for Israel's Ministry of Health. So the 6 hostages apparently were killed by multiple gunshots within the last 48 to 72 hours. Hang on 1 second here. So this is a protest going on right now in Tel Aviv. They've taken over a highway there in Tel Aviv. What does that say in the back? I'm not sure which highway this is. There may be viewers who know exactly where they are in Tel Aviv. But as I mentioned, large protests going on in Israel tonight, where protesters want Prime Minister Netanyahu to reach a ceasefire deal and get the rest of the hostages home. This comes after the bodies of 6 hostages who were apparently killed in the last 48 to 72 hours were found by the Israeli military today. And also, as I mentioned, the Washington Post article reports that Israel's largest labor union has called for a general strike tomorrow, threatening to shut down the country until Prime Minister Netanyahu agrees to a deal with Hamas to return the remaining hostages. Look at this. Hey, a quick thank you to Kenneth Colton for your support, and Walter Beasley, and Nuri Chiri, and our member All That's Random, and our member Nick Rose. Thank you. Thank you also, Mick Britches, for your support on Twitch. Okay, we got some people sitting on the road. We have police out. Police are out there now. Police are out there now. Look, big police presence. Are they going to start taking people away here? A lot of police are approaching the protesters. We have police on horseback there. So it looks like they're going to start removing the protesters, maybe, who are sitting down. We have a lot of police there. Uh-oh, okay, so people are getting taken into custody, it looks like. This is Reuters video, Reuters live video here. Thank you, Walter Beasley, for your support. Thanks, Walter. They have a fire on the highway there. Oh, this is the, I believe this is the Ayalon Highway. The Ayalon Highway, I believe it is. In Tel Aviv. Again, I think this is the Highway 20, the Ayalon Highway in Tel Aviv, because I know the Times of Israel is saying that there's protests on the Ayalon Highway. So I think that's where this is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Look at this right here. Look at this. Wow, wow. Now, what is that? They're putting out the fire. They are putting out the fire. Look at this. They're spraying water on the fire. One of the viewers says the loudspeaker says go arrest. Let's see if we see more police coming in. Really quick, let me just refresh this. Let me refresh this. No, the audio glitching is on the original source, guys, I think. Yeah, the audio glitching, that's not me. That's the original source. The guy's having a little trouble with his audio, I think. Sorry about that. Let me read you a little more background here as we watch this protest on a major highway in Tel Aviv, Israel. Let me just give you a little more background here. Associated Press has an article. Israelis erupt in protest to demand a ceasefire after 6 more hostages die in Gaza. Tens of thousands of grieving and angry Israelis surged into the streets on Sunday night after 6 more hostages were found dead in Gaza, chanting "Now, now," as they demanded that Prime Minister Netanyahu reach a ceasefire with Hamas to bring the remaining hostages home. The mass outpouring appeared to be the largest such demonstration in 11 months of war, and protesters said it felt like a possible turning point, although the country is deeply divided. Israel's largest trade union, the Histadrut, further pressured the government by calling for a general strike for tomorrow, the first since the October 7th Hamas attack that started the war. The general strike aims to shut down or disrupt the major sectors of the economy, including banking, healthcare, and the country's main airport. So will there be a general strike tomorrow? Ceasefire negotiations, says AP, have dragged on for months. Many blame Prime Minister Netanyahu for failing to reach a deal, which opinion polls show a majority of Israelis favor. but the Prime Minister also has significant support for his strategy of, quote, total victory against Hamas, even if a deal for the hostages has to wait. Again, I'm sorry, the audio is a little messed up on the source audio. That's not on my end. So, sorry that the audio is a little messed up on the source. I just want to give you a little more background here. The Associated Press says divisions in Israel and in the government. Netanyahu has vowed to continue the fighting until Hamas is destroyed. Top security officials say the intense pressure on Hamas. Top security officials say the intense pressure on Hamas has created. Top security officials say the intense pressure on Hamas has created favorable conditions for a ceasefire deal. The Israeli army, noting the difficulty of rescue operations, has acknowledged that a deal is the only way to bring home large numbers of hostages safely. By the way, I have seen a couple of estimates today of the number of hostages in Israel, and the estimates that I have seen are roughly 100 hostages in Gaza. Roughly 100 hostages are believed to be in Gaza still, of the roughly 250 that were originally taken hostage on October 7th. And of those 100 hostages, the Israeli military reportedly believes about 1/3 of them are dead. So, roughly speaking, around 100 hostages are still in Gaza, and around 1/3 of those 100 are believed to be dead, but their bodies are in Gaza. So Associated Press says, critics have accused the Prime Minister Netanyahu of putting his personal interests over those of the hostages. That when the war ends, that will likely lead to an investigation into the Netanyahu government's failures in the October 7th attacks, the government's collapse, and early elections. So some in Israel believe that Netanyahu is going slow on the negotiations, that he doesn't really want a ceasefire deal, because a ceasefire deal would bring an end to the war. This is me summarizing what AP is saying. But again, some people in Israel believe Netanyahu really doesn't want a ceasefire deal because that would bring an end to the war. It would bring the collapse to his government and early elections in which he very likely would not win if he ran. And also something to keep in mind is that Netanyahu's ruling coalition, he only gets to be prime minister because he has the support of a majority of the representatives in the Israeli parliament, the Knesset. But some of those parliamentary representatives that his support is based on are with far-right parties who would probably not support a ceasefire deal. So if he makes a ceasefire deal, he could lose some of the support he has from far-right parties, and then his government would collapse. So again, some in Israel believe that Netanyahu is putting his own personal political interests in front of that of the hostages. Not everybody in Israel, but some people in Israel think that. By the way, so just a quick update here. I messaged with Reuters, and they know about the audio issue the last few minutes on this stream, and they say it's being worked on, and hopefully it can get fixed soon. So anyways, the video is good quality, but we're watching a large protest on, I think this is the Ayalon Highway in Tel Aviv, Israel, where they, I think maybe the police has made a choice to not mass arrest people, because we've seen police out there. I'm guessing if the police, I'm just going to guess here, I'm guessing if the police really wanted to, they could forcibly clear the highway. It seems to me like perhaps the police has made a choice for whatever reason to just not be too confrontational here with people, at least at this point. I mean, it is nighttime there. It's 10:25 p.m. So, but will there be a general strike tomorrow? Again, Israel's largest labor union is supporting a general strike tomorrow. As AP said, where is it here? Israel's largest trade union, the Histadrut, further pressured the government by calling a general strike for tomorrow, the first since the October 7th Hamas attack that started the war. The general strike aims to shut down or disrupt the major sectors of the economy, including banking, healthcare, and the country's main airport. Thanks so much to Walter Beasley. That's very generous of you, Walter. I really appreciate it. Also, Fox Hunter, thanks for your support, who said a friend of his knew one of the hostages who was found today. Terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. Thanks to Swampy Cree and Troy Dodd. Thanks, Troy Dodd, for your support, and Swampy Cree, and Lisa, and Adrian Goodman, and ES, and Armando Rodriguez, and Mary McHugh, too. Thank you for your support of the channel. And Notorious Rob, there's somebody sitting on the highway right there. Zbot881. And Dino Nuggies, thank you. And let me thank our moderators real quick. I really appreciate our moderators being here. We have Ruth Krafasi and RJ moderating on YouTube. Thank you so much for moderating. Linda Belk and Larry are moderate for us on X. And also on Twitch we have moderating A Moment of Lovely, Bastion Girl, David Green. We might have, so the signal goes, hopefully they're going to fix the audio right now. The signal's expected back. Meanwhile, let me just finish thanking our moderators. Over on Twitch, A Moment of Lovely, Bastion Girl, David Green, Idaho Star. I Got That Fire, McBritches and Sarah are moderating. And let me thank our Facebook moderators as we wait to get the footage back, the Reuters footage of the protesting in Tel Aviv. We have on Facebook moderating right now, Kay Lowry Body is moderating. Thanks so much, Kay. So hopefully we'll get the footage back in a few seconds or like a couple minutes. As I've been watching the footage, it's gone out once in a while for maybe a minute or two, but hopefully we get that back shortly. And so is this general strike? Is there going to be a wide general strike in Israel tomorrow? If so, how much could that affect whether the government agrees to do a ceasefire deal? But this was obviously a huge deal today. Very tragic. 6 hostages' bodies were found in a tunnel in Rafah, Gaza, all killed. And the Israeli military said they had been killed recently by Hamas. And as I mentioned, according to this Washington Post story I was reading you before, the Washington Post reports that the bodies were taken to the National Center of Forensic Medicine, where an examination determined the 6 had been killed by multiple close-range gunshots within the last 48 to 72 hours, according to Shira Solomon, a spokesman for Israel's Ministry of Health. So some out there would say, hey, if there was a ceasefire deal sooner, these people could have been saved. I believe there's reporting suggesting that several of the 6 hostages were supposed to be, if there was a ceasefire deal, they would have been 3 of the first people released. I've seen several reports suggesting that. It's obviously a tragic situation. The hostages is a huge issue in Israel, and now we have this today where these 6 hostages were found dead, and the government says they were just recently killed by Hamas. So we're waiting to get the stream back. I will give you some more updates while we're waiting to get the footage back of the protest, and I appreciate you joining our live coverage. And I'm just going to keep this on the screen while we wait to get it back. And let me give you some more updates here. How many more hostages are held? The estimates I've seen today are roughly 100 hostages still in Gaza, but about a third of those are believed to be dead. So ballpark figure, the estimate would be around 60 alive hostages, roughly, from the estimates I have been seeing. Let's see here. Let me just read you a little background while we're waiting here to get the footage back. This is an article, Protests Escalate in Israel After 6 Hostages' Bodies Are Recovered in Gaza. The Washington Post says hundreds of thousands of protesters took part in nationwide demonstrations tonight, and Israel's largest labor union called for a general strike tomorrow, threatening to shut down the country until Prime Minister Netanyahu agrees to a deal with Hamas to return the remaining hostages. Skipping a little ahead in this article, it says, the article says Hamas is still holding 97 hostages. Oh, here, we're back. We're back at the protest here, and the audio is fixed. We got the audio fixed. That's good. Good job by Reuters. So people are looking at this thing. I don't know. Did the police maybe? Are they going to burn something, or what's happening there? It looks like there's like. Are they going to try to light a fire now? Because there was a fire on the highway before, and the authorities put it out. Jay Hurt, our viewer, thinks they're setting. Yes, they are setting another fire on the highway. You can see it right now, live.
למי יש דאודורנט ספרי שהוא יכול לתרום לטובת מטרה טובה? קדימה, חבר'ה, דאודורנט.
זהו, הרסת את היופי שהחבאנו.
איזה יופי, אח שלי, אנחנו צריכים חומר בעירה, דאודורנט. למי יש דאודורנט? בסדר, אחי, לא מפחדים מהמשטרה. דאודורנט, למי יש דאודורנט?
למי יש קוניאק?
Thank you, Yael, for your support. I appreciate it, Yael from Canada. And thank you to our member Pisces. Thank you, Pisces. So it looks like they're lighting. All right, so they've started to light another fire on the highway in Tel Aviv. The Washington Post reports Hamas is still holding 97 hostages, including 2 children under the age of 5. Of those 97 hostages, 33 have already been declared dead by Israeli authorities. Over nearly 11 months of agonizing uncertainty, many of the hostage families have accused Netanyahu of prioritizing his own political survival over a deal that would bring their loved ones home, and on Sunday, those hostage families demanded that Netanyahu address the nation. Netanyahu instead released a recorded statement from his office I'm saying, among other things, the fact that Hamas continues to commit atrocities like the ones it committed on the 7th of October obliges us to do everything so that it cannot commit these atrocities again. Netanyahu also said, whoever murders hostages does not want a deal. And Netanyahu said, they're burning more stuff. Netanyahu said Hamas does not want to has refused to conduct real negotiations. So more stuff being burned here on this highway. They are on the middle of a highway right now. Quick thanks to Andrew Pinzola and Zelda Marie for your support. Hey guys, I just need 1 minute. I'm going to disappear for 1 minute. I'll keep the footage on. I will reappear in 1 minute.
כן, באתי להוזיז, אבל תומר צעק עליי. וואו, וואו, וואו.
Sorry about that, folks. Looks like they lost the signal for a second. That happens. They've been losing the signal once in a while from the protests. So sorry about that. I assume they'll get it back shortly. That's happened a couple times. So we are watching the protests going on tonight. We're watching one in Tel Aviv and bringing you live coverage and keeping you up to date on the latest pressure being put on Prime Minister Netanyahu to reach a ceasefire deal and bring the remaining hostages home after 6 hostages were found today by the Israeli military in a tunnel in Rafah, Gaza. They had been killed recently by Hamas. The Washington Post reports that an examination of the bodies suggests that they had been shot numerous times and that they had been killed in the last 48 to 72 hours. So there's some sizable protests going on in Israel tonight calling for a deal for Prime Minister Netanyahu to complete a deal with Hamas and bring the remaining hostages home. Yes, according to the Washington Post, an examination of the bodies determined the 6 had been killed by multiple close-range gunshots within the last 48 to 72 hours. The Washington Post reports that negotiators say that Netanyahu has been one of the main barriers to a deal. He has insisted on maintaining an Israeli presence along the we might have lost the video for this event. So I'm going to still do some coverage here, but unfortunately we don't have, I didn't know how long we would have that footage for. We had it for almost an hour, actually. So let me give you a little background about what's going on. I don't know if we'll get any more footage from the protest, so I'm sorry we lost that, but do I have any other footage of it? I don't believe so. But it held out for about almost an hour. We'll talk a little more about the situation in Israel right now. If I have other footage, I will show it to you. I don't have at the moment footage that I have access to that I can show you on the air. AFP doesn't have any footage of it either. Let me just check something real quick here. Yeah, there's still some protesting going on. I don't have a feed I can show you at the moment. You never know, though. We might get some other footage. Let's see here. I'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, guys, I can't steal feeds. I pay for the feeds I use. So there might be somebody showing a feed somewhere, but I can't just steal their feed and use it on my channel. It doesn't work that way. So I can only use what I have the rights to. It's not Steve can just take whatever he wants from around the internet that other people are paying their own money to produce and use it on his channel. That's not how things work. That would not be fair if that's the way it worked. Isn't there fair use? Well, first of all, that wouldn't seem very fair to me, for me to just steal somebody's footage that they're paying their money to make. But no, fair use doesn't apply that way. You can't just take somebody's news footage that they're producing and just use it for yourself. It's not how it works. Anyways, let me give you a little background here. Let's talk a bit, because I don't know what's going to happen here tomorrow. There's supposed to be maybe a big strike in Israel tomorrow. So how big are the protests going to get? How many people are going to strike tomorrow? That I don't know. So let me just show you a couple things about this, some analysis here of what's going to happen. So, and I'll keep an eye out for any other footage I might get. So you can see the Washington Post says protests escalate in Israel after 6 hostages' bodies are recovered in Gaza. And I wanted to show you a part of this article. We've told you before, just to read the first couple of paragraphs again. Israelis reacted in shock. Hold on. Israelis reacted with shock and fury today after the bodies of 6 more hostages were recovered by the military from Gaza, with Israeli authorities saying they were killed by their captors in recent days. Hundreds of thousands of protesters took part in nationwide demonstrations tonight. We were just watching one. And Israel's largest labor union called for a general strike Monday, threatening to shut down the country until Prime Minister Netanyahu agrees to a deal with Hamas to return the remaining captives. Okay? And hang on a second here. Negotiators say, or at least some negotiators the Washington Post talked to, say that Netanyahu has been one of the main barriers to a deal. He has insisted on maintaining an Israeli presence along the Philadelphia corridor, a strategic buffer zone between Gaza and Egypt that Israel says is used by Hamas to smuggle weapons into Gaza, a claim denied by Egypt. On Thursday, the Israeli cabinet voted to remain in that corridor, despite warnings from high-ranking members of the security establishment that the move could torpedo a deal. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, who has emerged as one of the most vociferous critics of Netanyahu's war strategy, demanded Sunday that the cabinet must gather immediately and reverse the decision. Protesters knelt in the streets and held up pictures of the hostages as Netanyahu and his ministers met in Jerusalem on Sunday night. Families of the hostages and their supporters have flooded the streets of Tel Aviv again and again, demanding that Netanyahu agree to a ceasefire that would secure the release of the hostages, even if it means compromising on his promise of total victory over Hamas. Israeli military spokesperson Daniel Hagari has repeatedly said that only a negotiated deal would bring back most of the hostages. The defense minister said the IDF is prepared to pay whatever operational price is required for their freedom. And then, just to repeat what Associated Press mentioned in their article, Israelis erupt in protest to demand a ceasefire after 6 more hostages die in Gaza. Ceasefire negotiations have dragged on for months. Many blame Netanyahu for failing to reach a deal, which opinion polls show a majority of Israelis favor. But the prime minister has a significant amount of support for his strategy of, quote, total victory against Hamas, even if a deal for the hostages has to wait. Hamas has offered to release the hostages in return for an end to the war, the withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza, and the release of a large number of Palestinian prisoners, including high-profile militants. And there is this criticism. Some in Israel feel that Netanyahu is putting his personal political interests above that of the hostages. And here's a comment on that from the AP article. Netanyahu has vowed to continue the fighting until Hamas is destroyed. Top security officials say the intense pressure on Hamas by the Israeli armed forces has created favorable conditions for a ceasefire deal. The army, noting the difficulty of rescue operations, has acknowledged that a deal is the only way to bring home large numbers of hostages safely. But critics have accused Prime Minister Netanyahu of putting his personal interests over those of the hostages. The end of the war, which is what would happen with a ceasefire deal, if it, a complete deal, the end of the war likely will lead to an investigation into the Netanyahu government's failures in the October 7th attacks, the government's collapse, and early elections. Some analysts said the public outcry over the 6 hostages who were found dead today could signal a new level of political pressure on Netanyahu. This expert at Chatham House, Nomi Bar Yaakov, said to AP, I think what happened today is an earthquake. This isn't just one more step in the war. Deficiencies have been exposed within the government. Senior military and security officials, including Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, have warned time is running out. Israel's Channel 12 reported that Netanyahu got into a shouting match at a security cabinet meeting Thursday with the Defense Minister Gallant, who accused him of prioritizing control of a strategic corridor along the Gaza-Egypt border, a major sticking point in the talks over the lives of the hostages. Oh, also, yeah, here's this thing. An Israeli official confirmed the report and said 3 of the 6 hostages who were found dead today had been slated to be released in the first phase of a ceasefire proposal that had been discussed in July. Even a mass outpouring of anger would not immediately threaten Netanyahu or his far-right government. He still controls a majority in parliament, but he has caved into public pressure before. A general strike last year helped lead to a delay in his controversial judicial overhaul. So what is going to happen here in Israel? Will there be a big general strike tomorrow? And if so, what kind of pressure will that put on Netanyahu if it shuts down like a lot of the businesses in the country? Here's a photo of people protesting. So that was earlier tonight, that protest you see the photo of from Associated Press. I'm actually going to download. I think I can show you footage of that protest. I actually have footage from the protest earlier that I can show you, where they had like mock coffins representing, that's not real coffins, mock coffins representing the 6 hostages who had been found. Ido Levy says he doesn't think that the protests or a general strike will make any difference. Let me read some comments from you guys about what you think about where this is going. Our viewer, Gan Barizer, thinks Netanyahu doesn't seem like he's acting rationally anymore. Fagan411 says, remember when the judicial overhaul was going to be the end of Netanyahu? Seems like many lifetimes ago. Hey, thanks, John Donahue, for your support. John says you cannot deal with terror groups. Thank you to Crazy Yoda as well. Crazy Yoda thinks that Hamas sees the protest and says mission accomplished. I guess the folks here forgot who the killers and kidnappers on October 7th were. Hang on a moment here. Maybe I can show you a bit of the protest earlier. Give me a moment. Let me pull that up here. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Let me show you what it looked like a few hours ago. Let me just show you a bit of that. If you hang tight, give me a second. I'm going to put this up on the screen here for you. Can I do this here? Is this going to work? Yes. Let me get a caption that says earlier tonight up there so people aren't confused. So this was earlier tonight. That's people protesting a few hours ago. Earlier tonight, Tel Aviv, Israel. Oh, you know what I can also show you? There was some, I'll forward this. I'll show you some of the other scenes right before we came on the air of protesters on the highway and stuff that we didn't get to see. So this is from earlier tonight. So let me do that, because we didn't get to see some of this stuff when we came on the air. So I'll show you that. Let me just do this real quick. Trying to get this to work here. I'll turn the volume on too. Hang on. Oh, hold on. I gotta get it. Let me get it queued up here. I gotta get it queued up. That was earlier tonight. And you can see they have these mock coffins on the stage. This was earlier tonight, a couple hours ago, about 2 or 3 hours ago. And they have the 6 pretend coffins on the stage representing the 6 hostages who were found. And but let me show you. So this is some of the the big gathering, and let me show you some of the protesting right before we went live, where people were on the side of the highway, so you can see what that looked like. I'll pull it up here right now, and we can discuss things while we're watching some of that. So yes, this was about an hour and a half ago. This was about a half an hour before we went live. So, as I was getting ready to come on the air, this is what was going on. Let me read you guys some more comments. Let me read some more comments of yours, by the way. Bold AC2, our viewer Bold AC2 thinks that Hamas will only release dead hostages. You know what, guys? Give me about 20 seconds. I'm gonna disappear for about 20 seconds. So just give me about 20 seconds. I'm coming right back. Thanks for your patience. So again, this footage is from about an hour and a half ago, so I'm just showing you some of the footage we didn't get a chance to see because I wasn't on the air soon enough to see this live. Diamond Derek says you can't slaughter hostages and expect a deal. Plank says, I really don't think this will change anything. Israelis protest all the time. Well, what about a general strike tomorrow? Let's talk about the idea of a general strike tomorrow. So, I have an article here from Reuters that says, let me just show you real quick. Oh, hold on a second. I got to do it this way. Hang on. So there's an article from Reuters that says, Israel's main labor union calls strike as pressure mounts for hostage deal. So Reuters says the head of Israel's biggest labor union called for a general strike tomorrow, called for a general strike on Monday to pressure Prime Minister Netanyahu's government to bring back Israeli hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza, as thousands of protesters took to the streets. The call for a one-day general strike by Arnon Bar David, whose Histadrut union represents hundreds of thousands of workers, was backed by Israel's main manufacturers and entrepreneurs in the high-tech sector. The alliance of some of the most powerful voices in Israel's economy reflected the scale of public anger over the deaths announced today of 6 hostages among some 250 who were originally seized by Hamas on October 7th of last year. The head of the biggest labor union, Bar David, told a press conference, "We must reach a deal on the return of the surviving hostages. A deal is more important than anything else. We are getting body bags instead of the deal." The main airport, Reuters says that the main airport in Israel, Ben Gurion Airport, will be closed at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Okay? Because of this strike, because of the general strike tomorrow, the main airport in Israel will be closed starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Municipal services in Israel's economic hub, Tel Aviv, will also be shut for part of Monday. Again, this is some footage from about an hour and a half ago, right before we came on the air. Got some horse police were out there. I do not have any live feeds currently I can show. Of the protests. I don't have any access to any live protest feeds at the moment. We had one until about 15 minutes ago. So Reuters says that thousands of protesters blocked roads tonight in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv and demonstrated outside of Netanyahu's residence. Aerial footage showed Tel Aviv's main highway, which I think is this. I think it's the Ayalon Highway, blocked with protesters holding flags with pictures of the slain hostages. Reuters says there are around 101 hostages still in Gaza, but Israel believes about a third of those are no longer alive. Netanyahu and many hardliners in his government, as well as their supporters, remain opposed to any hostage deal that would release militants from Israeli prisons and help to keep Hamas in power. Thank you, Martin Gingrich, for your support, by the way. I really appreciate it, Martin Gingrich. Martin thinks Hamas's demands are ridiculous. Our viewer, Oleg Heifetz, says Netanyahu has historically been in favor of deals, but he is in a political limbo now, even though I can't imagine any other Israeli leader going for a deal with all of the grave responsibility it entails. Henrock City says, in Israel, if a protest get bad, police come with a water tank. I think police may have been using some water earlier, although I'm not sure about that. I thought I saw earlier them using some water before we came on the air. This is a short while before we came on the air, what you're watching right now. Eventually, people moved on to the highway. We were showing you that a short while ago. Dan Jorschner says he's under political pressure from Smotrich and Ben Gvir, who are, I believe, two right-wing members of the cabinet, not to make a deal. Another article here from Reuters says, Israel's recovery of 6 hostage bodies in Gaza puts pressure on Netanyahu. Oh, I think, you know what you just saw? They're carrying a protester away. That happened before. Let me see if I can rewind that for you. I remember watching that before, where they carried a protester away who wouldn't move off the highway. So let me get that queued up for you again so I can play it for you. Because I remember watching that before and thought that was interesting. Okay, so here, this is earlier. Again, this is about an hour and a half ago. So what you'll see like a female protester, I think, sit down on the highway, and then eventually they just have a bunch of people take her away. So let's just watch. I remember watching this a little while ago before we came on the air. So keep an eye out. Let's see. I believe that's a face. Somebody's holding up like a giant face of one of the hostages who was found, I believe. Where is this? Coming up, you'll see the person on the highway who I was talking about. Okay, now let's see here. Sorry, I queued it up a little early. I was in a moment. We should see the part where the person sits on the highway and then gets taken away. You know what I remember now? It was somebody with a megaphone, and she starts walking around among the cars. And then the police basically start telling her to leave, and she sits down. Yeah, see, at that point, are they putting out a... See, at that point, are they spraying something? Are they putting out a fire? Are they spraying protesters? I don't know. See, that was before, too. Maybe they put out a fire or something. I'm not sure. I see some white stuff on the ground. Foam, says Jean. All right, see here, look at the people right now. This is the part I wanted to show you. See the people walking among the cars, and see there's a person with a megaphone. On the bottom right, there's a woman with a megaphone. You'll see. And she's walking around among the cars, and eventually she'll get taken away. You can see her right now. See with the megaphone in the red top, right there at the bottom. So she's walking around with a megaphone, and here comes a police officer right here. I saw this before, and watch this. They try to get her to leave, and she won't leave. So keep watching here. So then she sits down. It looks like she sits down. Now they're carrying her. Then other officers come over. And now they're like literally carrying her by her limbs and taking her away. So I remember seeing that. Henrock says the white truck is the water cannon. Now, I don't know if they used it to put out a fire earlier or what. Hot Rodacy, our viewer Hot Rodacy, says the hostages are no more important than the tens of thousands of Palestinian citizens who have been collateral damage. Oh, do I have a video? A different video I can show you? While we're watching this footage from a little earlier tonight, I want to mention this report from Reuters, which says Israel's recovery of 6 hostage bodies in Gaza puts pressure on Netanyahu. So Reuters says Israel recovered the bodies of 6 hostages from a tunnel in Gaza, where it said they were killed shortly before its troops reached them, triggering protests tonight by Israelis and planned labor strikes over the failure to save the hostages. Thousands of Israelis demonstrated in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. You're watching some footage right now from a little earlier tonight. And the protesters demanded that Prime Minister Netanyahu do more to bring the remaining hostages home from Gaza. Labor leaders urged workers to down tools on Monday. There's apparently going to be a general strike tomorrow. The Israeli military announced the recovery of the bodies from underground in the southern city of Gaza. A forensic examination determined they had been murdered by Hamas terrorists in a number of shots at close range 48 to 72 hours ago, before they were found, an Israeli health ministry spokesperson said. Netanyahu, who faces growing calls to end nearly 11 months of war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza, with a deal that includes a ceasefire and the release of remaining hostages, said Israel would not rest until it caught those responsible. Whoever murders hostages does not want a deal, he said. Senior Hamas officials said that Israel, in its refusal to sign a ceasefire agreement, was to blame for the results. Amid public anger over the fate of the hostages, the head of Israel's trade union federation, Arnon Bar David, the largest union in Israel, called for a general strike tomorrow to pressure the government into signing a deal, and said the airport, the major airport in Israel, Ben Gurion Airport, will be closed starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow. In Jerusalem, protesters blocked roads and demonstrated outside the Prime Minister's residence. Aerial footage like this, well, this isn't really aerial footage, well, it's a little above them. Footage showed Tel Aviv's main highway blocked with protesters holding flags with pictures of the slain hostages. There are about 100 hostages remaining in Gaza. Israel believes roughly a third of those are dead. Let me take some more comments from you guys. You can write to me on X at Lookner. Yes, Bondzilla, the Biden administration has made some statements about this. We read those on our earlier stream. I'll read you just a statement that President Biden made earlier. So Biden specifically mentioned this. One of the 6 hostages who was found was an American citizen, Hirsch Goldberg Poland. His parents had become very well known for advocating for their son. His parents had spoken at the Democratic National Convention. I think they had met. His parents had met with the president and had met with the Pope. President Biden said earlier today in a tunnel under the city of Rafah, you can see the statement there, Israeli forces recovered 6 bodies of hostages held by Hamas. We have now confirmed one of the hostages killed by those vicious Hamas terrorists was an American citizen, Hirsch Goldberg, Poland. I am devastated and outraged, said President Biden. Hirsch was among the innocents brutally attacked while attending a music festival for peace in Israel on October 7th. By the way, 5 of the 6 hostage bodies found today, 5 of them were hostages who'd been taken hostage from that music festival. The Hirsch Goldberg Poland, who Biden is talking about in the statement, lost his arm helping friends and strangers during Hamas's savage massacre. He had just turned 23. He planned to travel the world. I have gotten to know his parents, John and Rachel. They have been courageous, wise, and steadfast, even as they have endured the unimaginable. They have been relentless and irrepressible champions of their son and all the hostages held in unconscionable conditions. I admire them and grieve with them more deeply than words can express. I know all Americans tonight will have them in their prayers, just as Jill and I will. I have worked tirelessly to bring their beloved Hirsch safely to them, and I'm heartbroken by the news of his death. It is as tragic as it is reprehensible. Make no mistake, Hamas leaders will pay for these crimes, and we will keep working around the clock for a deal to secure the release of the remaining hostages. That is what President Biden said. Kristen Coughlin sent me a Twitter post showing some video of a different angle of protesters being sprayed, I think with some sort of foam. I think it might have been right here about maybe 20 minutes earlier on the footage, or a half an hour earlier on the footage, or something like that, where they were spraying some protesters. See the foam on the ground there? I bet I can find that for you. I bet I can find that part of the footage for you. Give me a second. I'll look. I think we actually might have seen it earlier. I just need to cue it up here. Yeah, it's right here. I got it. I think I got it. Right here. So watch this. So hold on. Watch the truck. Watch the truck. See that right there? Right there. That's them spraying the foam right there. That's them. That's the truck spraying the foam. Can you guys see that? You can see the truck spraying the foam on the protesters who are sitting on the ground there. It's kind of hard to see. It's on the left, but you could just see it right there. It's happening right there on the footage. I'll replay it again for you, but that's when it happened. It's kind of obscured there. At that point, it's already happened. Let me go back a minute and play it again. See how there's all that white foam now? But let me go back and play that again. That would have been at about 2:16 or so. This is Reuters footage, by the way. Yeah, watch this right here. See that? Get ready. The truck pulls up. The truck pulls up, and you'll see the truck start to spray the protesters who are sitting on the ground. Right here. Watch that white truck there. There, right here. See, right here. It's starting about. Well, I thought I just saw it. Truck pulls up. There you go. It starts to spray them right there. Our viewer CSPD SGN thinks that the foam has a mild pepper spray in it and is used for crowd control. I cannot confirm what kind of foam it was, but that might make sense if it is some kind of crowd control foam. And then you can see there at that point they've already been sprayed. And they're covered in white stuff. I don't have currently, at the moment, I don't have any live shots of the protests I can show you. This was shortly before we came on the air. So I'm just showing you some of this to give you a sense of what it was like. But I don't have access at the moment to any live feeds. Yeah, I'm showing it to give you an idea. I mean, originally on the broadcast, I was showing, for like an hour we had a live feed. And But to give you a sense of what was going on, I have gone back to shortly before our stream came on the air to show you some of the other footage so you could see what has been going on. Zero Moose says, hopefully this will topple the current Israeli regime and maybe some peace will actually come. HomoWares said, are the yellow flags representing Hamas? I saw a couple yellow flags, but I didn't see Hamas logos on them. I'm not sure what I saw a couple yellow flags at some point. I'm not sure what they were for, but the Hamas flag has yellow with like a certain, I think it's a green design on it, and I did not see any of those at the protest myself. Chabad, one of our viewers said. Yellow for hostages, one of our viewers says. Let me look this up. Hoggy says yellow flags and ribbons represent bring the hostages home. Pause Toka says the yellow flags mean hostages. Sienna says yellow for the hostages. Yeah, I'm seeing some stuff online about yellow being associated with the hostages in Israel as well. Yeah, I'm reading a BBC story from earlier this evening that says some demonstrators are wearing yellow ribbons in solidarity with the hostages and their families. One of our viewers, Laura Schilling, sent me something about some schools being closed early tomorrow in Israel. I have to look up some more information about the general strike. I'll see if I can find you a little more specifics about the general strike tomorrow that is happening in Israel. Yeah, I am live. Now the video says, see in the top left corner, it says earlier tonight. This is a live broadcast. So the Times of Israel says that the call for a general strike by Israel's largest union has angered the government, with the far-right finance minister Smotrich calling the strike illegal. Several cities and municipalities have announced they will not take part in the strike. Yes, the Times of Israel says In line with the general strike called by the Histadrut, the teachers union, which is a branch of the Histadrut union, which is calling for a strike, the teachers union announced that all K through 12 schools in Israel tomorrow will be open only until 11:45 a.m., except schools for special needs students. And all kindergartens will be completely closed Monday, except for special needs centers. That is according to Times of Israel. The New York Times says many hostage families and their supporters have called for a deal with Hamas without delay, even if it leaves the group intact. Mr. Netanyahu and his allies have said a bad deal with Hamas could put Israel's long-term security at risk. Thanks to our member Sharona, by the way. All right, let me just see if I have any other updates for you. I've just been showing you, we watched about an hour of live footage from this stream, and I was just going back and showing you some of the stuff that happened before we went live. This footage, so it's about an hour and a half old. This footage, or maybe about 2 hours old. All right, guys, so look, here's what I'm going to do. I wasn't the headline. I got to fix the headline. The headline is all messed up on that first shot there when I'm like this. Okay, so I wasn't planning on doing this stream. We actually were up all night, basically, covering the first of all, the 6 hostages' bodies being found, and then we were covering some clashes that appeared to be taking place between Israeli forces and Palestinian militants in Jenin in the West Bank. So I slept a little bit, and then I had to come on and end the stream because we had let the footage run a little longer, and then I was going to sleep a little more, but then these protests were happening. So, but at this point, I don't have any live footage of the protests, The current time, it's 11:34 p.m. in Israel. And there's supposed to be a general strike tomorrow. So I think I'm going to wrap up this live stream. You know, if there's something big that happens, I'll just come back on the air like I did with this. You know, and maybe we'll cover the general strike too. I got to see how everything plays out. But I did want to come on and give you an update about this protest activity. If you missed it, we did about, you know, we had roughly a little less than an hour of a live coverage of the protests with the Reuters video. And just to give you an update on the general strike and everything. So let me just wrap up this. This is Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. So subscribe and follow the channel. Subscribe to and follow the channel, Agenda Free TV. And we actually have a notifications system we've set up so that you can get a notification sent to you whenever we go live, because I don't know when I'm going live in advance generally. I don't know when breaking news is going to happen. So sign up for the free notifications. They work really well. The mods will post a link to the notifications. Sign up in the chat. And you can find that notifications link in the description of this video on YouTube and Facebook as well. Oh, and thank you, Boz, for your support. I really appreciate that, Boz. Thank you from Canada. Let's shout out our moderators. Really awesome. They're the one who let us have chat rooms. We couldn't have chat rooms without our moderators. So big thanks to them. Cynthia Moon, Ruth Krafasi, RJ, BZ over there on YouTube. And Linda Belk and Larry on X, and all of our other YouTube moderators who've been in there. Kay Lowry Body over on Facebook. Thanks so much, Kay, for moderating during this stream. And any other moderators I might be missing. And also on Twitch, A Moment of Lovely, Bash and Girl, David Green, Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, McBritches, and Sarah. And also thanks to Airtight Ski Pole for your support on Twitch, and Nancy Elizabeth for the gift membership on Twitch, and A Moment of Lovely for your support on Twitch. And thanks everybody who donated. That's really nice of you guys. David Spivak as well. Really appreciate that. Thanks for your note, David Spivak too. Yeah, thanks for your donations. That's what allowed this channel to exist. That's what allows me to, like, you know, buy the footage, buy the rights to the news articles and everything. That's how I can show you that stuff. So I really appreciate you supporting the channel and allowing it to exist. If you ever want to donate to the channel, you can go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. But again, thank you for supporting the channel. And hang on a moment. I will post updates while I'm not live. I will post news updates on my X account, which is @Lookner. You can follow me there on X, @Lookner, for news updates. I will post a link to that in the chat. Why does that look all strange? Let's see. Oh, I think I know why it looks strange. That should look better there. Okay. And a quick reminder. Oh, also, check out our, if you want to, at the same link as the notifications, you can check out our chat. We have a Discord chat where you can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air. A lot of our viewers like doing that Discord chat. So that is free, and you can check that out at the same link as the notifications. Thanks to our Discord mods as well. Appreciate you. And another reminder, which is for those of our viewers who are watching on YouTube, if you subscribe on YouTube and you want to get notifications on YouTube, what you need to do is click this bell on YouTube and then click on all notifications. So make sure you have the bell clicked on YouTube and all notifications. I do have a personal channel on YouTube where I sometimes do non-news live streaming, although it's been so busy lately. Haven't been over there in a little while. But if you're interested, that's called Lookner on YouTube and Looknerd with a D on Twitch. Let me shout out some of our supporters here over on Twitch. Our Twitch subscribers like Blue Pip, Wall Street, Shaggy, A Moment of Lovely. Really appreciate all of our subscribers on Twitch. Dino Nuggies, Hot Rodacy, K-Sira Tops, Daddy Dino, Hamburger 40, and Jack's Animals, Ascertainment, And Girly Sound, all of our subscribers. Nancy Elizabeth, thank you, subscribers. Abond V, John 401, and others. John M401 and others. Thanks for subscribing on Twitch. And also our Facebook subscribers like Eve Richards, Diane Allworth. Margaret Riley. Thanks to our moderators who I didn't thank before. Margaret Riley, Ronald Egnor, and Beth Shepard. Thank you all for moderating, as well as Kay in the Facebook chat. Thank you to our subscribers there like Kay and Margaret Riley and Robert Rial II and Diane Allworth, Lou Green, all of our subscribers on Facebook. Thank you. And our YouTube members, big shout out to you like Sharona, Zinkman, Yael, Lois Cox, Jaybird, Moonbeam, UV Lightning, Jesse James, Night of Fire, Mary McHugh2, and Mythical. And also thanks to everybody who let me read your comments on the air and who sent in news tips and comments during the broadcast. I appreciate that. Thanks to some more of our YouTube members like Chris N, Eddie V, Susie Blout, Ivan, Jaybird, D. Lucky, Charles Emerson, Matt Schaefer, Oleg Hafitz, Danny G, Power Max 84, Dave Unknown, Died Suddenly News, Stormy Willow, Marie, Buffalo Women, and others, and all of our other viewers. I appreciate you guys. Will Jace and Fans Sports, Sunshine in Arizona, appreciate you tuning in. Josh Leach and Dennis Britt, Beth Shepard, Artist Caverlin. Thank you, our member Eddie V. Chi-Town Bear, our subscriber. Funris Goblin, Wask4H, Miula on Twitch, and others. Thank you for watching. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up now. All kinds of developments going on around the world and in Israel, in the Middle East. So I will keep an eye out. Who knows when we'll be on next? It could be soon, covering big breaking news. But that is it for now. Thank you again, mods, and thanks all of you for watching. We will see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.